Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2. Recently, Blizzard has been on quite a spree nerfing hunter pets multiple times in a row. Let me know your thoughts about the hunter pet nerfs down in the comments. I believe they mainly did it for PvP reasons, but regardless, this has led a lot of hunter players to have questions regarding what runes are actually the best to run now, what talent builds are the best, and even what pet is the best to run. In this video, I'm going to answer a lot of those questions so you guys know exactly how to set up your character and how to optimally do a crap ton of damage in the raid. Hunter is still extremely strong despite all of these nerfs, and I'll try to give you guys pretty much all the information that you need to know in order to still blast on Hunter, which you can see it still does a pretty good amount of damage, and on average is about the third best DPS currently. I didn't really plan on making much Season of Discovery or WoW content really in general, so if you end up finding the video helpful, please let me know down in the comments and I'll consider making some more content in the future. Today's video is sponsored by Red Magic, the company behind the greatest gaming phones available on the market. The brand new Red Magic 9 Pro, available in 3 eye-popping colorways, my favorite being the Sleep Black, offers some of the most insane specs you'll ever see for a phone, including 16 gigs of RAM, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor for the best performance possible, a 6500 milliamp battery for up to 56 hours of battery life, which is just insane. And one of the best features that the Red Magic 9 has is its upgraded ICE 13 cooling system, which is going to massively reduce the temperature of the phone for optimal performance. My favorite part about the phone, and what I actually noticed almost immediately, was just how unbelievably impressive the screen is. It's a massive 6.8 inches, which is an insane amount of real estate to work with when playing games, but it also just looks fantastic. The screen is 2480 by 1116, so pretty close to 1440p resolution, offers up to 120 Hz refresh rate, and it is a BOE Q9 Plus full flat FHD display, which is just stunning when you compare it to literally any other phone. Outside of the insane specs, one of my favorite features is the game space that the phone comes with, allowing you to easily customize all sorts of stuff like the shoulder triggers that the phone has, fan speed, vibration settings, screen settings, notification settings, all sorts of settings. If you're looking for a phone that doesn't sacrifice any of the qualities of your average daily driver, like a 16 megapixel camera, 512 gigs of memory, insane battery life with like light speed charging, one of the best displays on the market, and even flagship speakers for very immersive audio, while also giving you absolutely unmatched performance when gaming, I'd highly recommend checking out the Red Magic 9 Pro via the link in the description. And honestly, it's pretty inexpensive relative to other phones, given how absolutely insane the specs are. Anyways, big thanks to Red Magic for sponsoring today's video. Alright, getting into things, let's first talk about the nerfs that actually have happened to the hunter pets. There were 2 in a row, funnily enough, which mainly I think are for PvP reasons, because a lot of people were complaining about wind serpents just globaling them in PvP. The first nerf being that the Boon of Blackfathom world buff doesn't apply to pets anymore. This was super annoying to play around, so it's kind of okay that it's gone, but it's a pretty decent nerf. It means that the pets are going to miss out on all the attack power that you get from the buff, as well as the hit chance, which is melee hit and spell hit, and I think the spell hit worked for the Wind Serpent. So that's a pretty decent nerf. And then more recently, we got a much more significant nerf, which is the Beastmaster rune bonus health and damage went from 30% down to 20%, and the focus regen got nerfed from 80% to 50%. The focus regen nerf seems to hit Wind Serpent harder than it does cats because of the way that Lightning Breath works with its focus regen. Overall, I don't really know the math on this, so if anybody knows the actual math, please let me know down in the comments, but I'm going to guess it's about a 25% nerf overall to how much damage your pet was doing. At the same time, though, they did happen to buff Chimera Shot's weapon damage, and they also nerfed the mana cost of Chimera Shot, meaning that Chimera Shot is a much more appealing option now. So this has led to a lot of people having the question of, okay, is it even worth using Beastmaster anymore? Should I use Chimera Shot? If I'm playing Chimera Shot, what pet should I use? Should I swap my talents, etc.? So let's quickly go over all of those questions. The first question I see most people asking is, should they run Chimera Shot or Beast Mastery now? For most people, Beast Mastery is going to still be better because it's simply just way easier to play around. It's just flat going to increase the damage of your pet, and most people aren't like fully raid bist out. Chimera Shot, if you look on logs, does end up being better. Most people that are getting like, rank 1 logs and stuff are using Chimera Shot now. But Chimera Shot scales off of your weapon damage, so it's only going to be better once you have a good amount of raid gear, so you have a lot of ranged AP, and you at the very least have a weapon from the raid. So unless you have like the gun off of Akumai, obviously the crossbow, or the bow off of Cerevis, there's no way Chimera Shot is going to be better than just using Beast Mastery, because its damage is going to scale off of your weapon damage. There are, of course, people still actually getting top logs by using Beast Mastery. A lot of those logs are people just getting lucky with crits and stuff, but it does at the very least show that you can still perform extremely well with Beast Mastery rather than Chimera Shot. Chimera Shot is a little bit harder to play around, of course. You want to have Serpent Sting up all the time. You want to be using Chimera Shot on cooldown, and it's only a 6-second cooldown, and you want to be doing that while also melee weaving. And also, you may run into the issue of running out of mana if you are in a particularly not great group that has pretty low damage and the kill times are really long. You may end up running out of mana, in which case Chimera Shot ends up being useless, right, if you're literally out of mana, unable to cast it. So for most people, I would still recommend playing with Beast Mastery. However, I would not use a Wind Serpent anymore. If you want to play with Beast Mastery, I would swap over to a Cat. It is not going to be significantly better, but because of the focus regeneration nerf on Beast Mastery going from 80% down to 50%, it's simply just more consistent to have a Cat. Another question I see people asking a lot is, if you do want to swap over to Chimera Shot, what talent build do you want to play with? And the answer is that you still want to play Beast Mastery, because a flat 20% increase to your pet's damage as well as 3% crit is simply just going to be more than giving your ranged weapon attacks a 5% increased crit chance. You'll see some people running lethal shots, and it's kind of just to hedge your bets to try to get really, really good RNG for a parse, but generally speaking, buffing your pets by 20% damage is better. This is my Kelrus log here, and as you can see, my pet is still doing a crazy amount of damage without Beast Mastery, so even if I had 5% crit, which mathematically is about a 5% damage increase to Auto Shot, Chimera Shot, Multi Shot, a 5% damage increase on average to those is going to be less than just buffing my pet flat by 20%. So you still want to play full BM, and that's just significantly easier for people. The only way that MM would maybe be better is to pre-cast an aim shot, but most people are not going to worry about that, and again, 5% crit really isn't all that much. Another question is, what pet do you want to use if you play Chimera Shot? The answer is it kind of doesn't matter, because you don't have the focus regeneration. Wind Serpent and Cat are roughly the same. We don't exactly have math on this, but I've looked at a ton of logs recently, and most people are playing a Cat, but there's a ton of people that are still getting good logs by just using a Wind Serpent and playing with Chimera Shot. It kind of doesn't matter that much, I think, but generally it's probably better to go and get a Cat, particularly 2.0 speed one, because that's just definitely going to be better later on, and you want to get it out of the way while you can. So the Cats that you want to actually play with, or rather the Cats that you want to go get that are 2.0 speed, there's only 2 Cats in the game that are 2.0 speed. One of them is the Ghost Saber. This is really annoying to go get. It's in Darkshore. It's the one that I have right here. You pretty much just go up here and you click on all these cat figurines that are around, and then it'll randomly spawn. It literally took me an hour of clicking the figurines to get mine. And then the other one that you want, it's fairly easy to get, is Echiyaki here. You can get this by just doing some quests in the Barrens. If you're Alliance, this is not really going to be easy to get. And it's level 16 rather than level 19 to 20 that the Ghost Saber is, so you'd have to level it a bit more. If you don't have the quest for this, you'd have to have somebody else spawn it for you, so that can be a little bit annoying. The reason that you want these 2 cats is they have an attack speed of 2.0. While that doesn't necessarily increase their damage output, if you're playing with Flanking Strike and Melee Weaving, Flanking Strike's damage is going to do it's going to proc a melee hit, and if their attack speed is 2.0 rather than lower, then the amount of damage you get from Flanking Strike is just going to be higher. Alternatively, you can get a Raptor, because all Raptors can train Claw and Bite, and Raptors all have an attack speed of 2.0, and there's just a ton of them, but I don't think Raptors can't get Stealth for the next phase, right? And they also can't get Dash, I believe. So it's better to just get a Cat and get it out of the way. But if you already have a Wind Serpent, particularly Washed Pawnee is the one that you want to get, because it has Lightning Breath 3, and they also have an attack speed of 2.0. If you already have a Serpent, it's fine to keep playing with that, but if you're playing with Beast Mastery, I would recommend swapping over to the Cat. Keep in mind that if you're fighting Ghamoora and you're using a Cat and you're playing Beast Mastery, because Ghamoora has so much armor, you actually want to swap from Beast Mastery to Chimera Shot on that fight, specifically if you have a Cat. If you're using a Wind Serpent, it's probably fine to still play Beast Mastery, or you can just try swapping to Chimera Shot for that boss if you want to, just for fun. But because Ghamoora has so much armor and takes extra damage from like magic sources of damage, Chimera Shot for whatever reason does a lot of damage there, or using a Wind Serpent will do more damage on Ghamoora specifically. But for every other boss, generally speaking, a Cat seems to be better. I'll leave a link to where you can get all these pets down in the description for those of you guys that are curious. For the rest of our runes, it's pretty standard because Kill Command is just absolute garbage. Sniper Training requires you to stand still, which you're not really going to be able to do consistently in the Black Fathom Deeps raid. And flanking strike is just very strong because melee weaving is really good. So if you were to use sniper training, you can't really melee weave anymore. A lot of people are particularly scared of melee weaving, but it's actually insanely easy, and you just get so much damage because your melee hits just do so much. Playing flanking strike is very good, and then when it comes to the chest rune, if you're the only hunter, you have to play Heart of the Lion. And if you're playing Beast Mastery, Heart of the Lion might even be as good as Master Marksman. But if there's a second hunter in the raid that is playing Heart of the Lion and you want to play Chimera Shot, then Master Marksman is slightly better just for the additional crit chance, but it's very, very close because Heart of the Lion giving you 10% stat is pretty good still. You mainly would run this for the mana cost reduction and just hoping that you get lucky with crits. That's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully I answered some of your guys' questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to just leave them down in the comments. Quickly, I'll go over rotation. I don't know if this is exactly perfect, but what I've been doing is I just start out with an auto shot, multi-shot, and then I go into a serpent sting, and then as I'm running in for the melee weave, immediately after that auto shot, I Chimera Shot, I walk in for the melee weave, I go back out, and then I kind of just do that. Generally speaking though, you just want to use multi-shot and Chimera Shot on cooldown, and then every 2 auto shots you want to run in for a melee weave, just cue the Raptor Strike. I use a macro that does Raptor Strike and Flanking Strike at the same time. Sometimes the macro doesn't work because Raptor Strike is just a very inconsistent ability. Otherwise, you just want to make sure to apply Serpent Sting at some point because Chimera Shot benefits off of Serpent Sting, and Serpent Sting just does a pretty decent amount of damage. But as long as you're using Chimera Shot and multi-shot on cooldown, it's pretty easy. Otherwise though, if you're playing Beast Mastery, you just have to multi-shot on cooldown, apply Serpent Sting, and make sure to just melee weave every time you have a Raptor Strike available. It's pretty easy, but obviously practice makes perfect. That's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.